Hi, this is Lou from Lou's Antiques and Collectibles, and we buy and sell stuff for our 2 antique booths and 2 antique malls that we're in. So we are heading to Midland, Michigan, and we're taking the Kodiak, and we're going to go to the Michigan Antique Festivals up there. So come along with us. So Midland is located in the middle of the state, just west of the Thumb. On the road up to Midland, Michigan. It's probably about 2.5 hours from our house, so that's why we're going to stay right up there. And the nice thing about this show, there's a campground that's literally connected right to the fairgrounds, so we're going to be right on the property the whole weekend. We're going to get lots of footage for you folks to see and see all the cool vendors and all the neat things that they have at this. So come on along. So when you come to the Midland Antique Festivals, it's not just an antique show, it is a festival. So there's all kinds of entertainment, there's all kinds of food, and there's a car show there, so there's lots to do for everyone. So the fairgrounds is located like kind of almost in the middle of town here, which is really nice if you're staying here because there's lots of restaurants you can go to and in the evening, and lots of things you can do. So the festival is open on Saturday and Sunday, Saturday from 8 to 6 and Sunday from 9 to 4. The admission is $10 and children under 11 are free. And also there's free parking. So we're gonna head on and get our parking spot for our camper here. So before we go and set up our camper and do all those things, we're gonna stop at the office here and we're gonna talk to Matt, one of the organizers of the show. And also we're gonna pick up our golf cart, which we're gonna have all weekend, which will be awesome.
Yeah, so if you're traveling to the area, we have wonderful campgrounds with full hookups and showers, so you can always stay right at the event, make a whole weekend out of it with the whole family and friends. We also have plenty of hotels in this area with wonderful restaurants, so feel free to travel. We get people that come from all over the country to come out to the event and stay with us.
So in the campground, they have water available. It's kind of shared between about 6 sites, and you can fill your tanks anytime you need to. Also, there's electricity available, but they're on poles within about 3 or 4 sites together, and sometimes even 6. So make sure you bring lots of electrical cord extensions and a hose with some extensions so you can make sure you get all your utilities. Also, they have a dump station available for you to dump the sewer out. So we're going to head on to the main building. This is kind of located in the middle of the fairgrounds, and this is where we're going to start our junking this weekend. And there's lots of dealers in here, and they carry a big variety of items. So we're going to take a look at the overall. This is a nice big building, and there's all kinds of movie memorabilia and advertising and lots of toys. So we're going to talk to our first vendor here and see what he has to say about some things in his booth. So this is Brian, and he's going to tell us about some of the things in his booth. And Brian, what's the name of your business?
It's Behind the Attic Door Antiques.
Okay.
And so like one of the things like I found here is this nice it's a actual general store heater, and this would have been in like the general store late 1800s, early 1900s, not just used for lighting but actually used to heat the store. So as customers came in, it would have been in the center, it would have been in a prominent area, and it would have heat the whole establishment. So that's just something I found. It's very unusual to see them with like the white opalescence in the shade. Usually you just see them, they're like cut crystal or just cut glass, but it's very hard to find them with that white swirl pattern to it. So the wick that would have been on the inside would have been a 4-inch wick. Most of the Gone with the Winds that you see in the 1800s would have been just like a 1-inch or 1.5 inch. So it's pretty substantial.
Thanks so much for the information. So here's some other items in his booth here. And boy, did he have the jewelry, let me tell you. Now, we also focused on this dealer at the Davisburg show, so if you didn't catch him in one area of Michigan, you can catch him in another. So he goes to both shows, which is pretty handy for those who live in different parts of the states. But look at all this sterling. Woo! That is some nice stuff, and there's some gold and some watches and lots of rings. All kinds of goodies right up my alley. Turquoise, different natural stones, and lots of good old vintage pieces. And he also had some other type of collectibles in here. He had some lamps and various small items, cups and saucers, and some glassware and beautiful old pictures, and some brass items. and a big variety of items. So we're going to head on over to another dealer who has a lot of beautiful pictures and see what kind of information he can give us on those. Let's talk to this gentleman here. And what is your name and what is your business name?
My name is Paul, and my business is Transcendent Treasures. I'm from Heartland, Michigan. And these are chromolithographs that were a printing process developed in the 1880s, 70s, 80s, right in that area. And the process was such that it was very labor intensive, but it was you got these brilliant colors. Each color is laid on one at a time in this printing process. Before that, they would hand color engravings, like courier knives started developing ways to print color with image. Illustrator from France, he moved to California in around 1900, and his name was Paul de Longpre, and he was a flower artist, and the flowers are just really well done, I must say. And then there was this image of the little children, chromolithograph again. Was the illustrators were the stars of the day, like Mr. de Longpre, and that was Maud Humphrey did those. Then she was the mother of Humphrey Bogart. She was an illustrator artist around 1900 again. They found a cheaper way to print in color circa 1920 or around World War I. They found cheaper ways to print, but they lost that brilliance and sharpness that you see. But they were used for advertising. For instance, this is the image for the Pabst Brewing Company, and if you take, and you see the advertising on the back. And that was a calendar for, I'm not sure, I think 1912, if I'm not mistaken. This again is a advertising for a farm magazine. Again,
All right, well, thank you so much for educating us on all those pictures. So we're going to head on over to look at some precious moments with another one of the vendors. So we're here at KW Collectibles, and she's going to tell us a little bit about precious moments.
Okay, well, precious moments were the real thing. Everybody was getting them. They were a nice figurine. And these ones that I have were done by the first people who made the business. They were signed Jonathan and David. They were best friends, like in the Bible, Jonathan and David. And Sam Butcher was the artist, and my mother has a lot of them. So the difference with precious moments, Jonathan and David, when they sold out to UNESCO, and it came to be known as Precious Moments. And then it also has the UNESCO on it, but it also has the artist. Here's the artist, Samuel J. Butcher. UNESCO owns them, and Sam Butcher doesn't have a lot to do with them anymore, that I know. I could be wrong. But
Very good information, though. Thank you so much, because I didn't know anything about that myself, and I do buy and sell precious moments. So good information. Thanks a lot. Now we're going to head on over and talk to a gentleman about Flow Blue China. So we're here looking at some Flow Blue, so let's hear some more information about that. And what is your name, sir?
My name is Ron.
And what is your business name?
Reflection of You Antiques.
Could you tell us a little bit about Flow Blue? Because that's something I need some education in. So tell us how to tell what it is.
Well, Flow Blue was made from about 1830s to about the 1920s. The earlier years, it was a heavy ironstone, and it transitioned to the lighter ware that we normally look at as dinnerware now, and that occurred in the 1880s, 1890s. So most of the china you see in Flow Blue is what they call late Victorian, 1880s to 1910. And that actually goes a little past the Victorian period, but that's when most of it was really made. Most of it is English. Many patterns, up to 2,000 patterns of Flow Blue. Oh, wow. So it is, at the time, it was quite prevalent. The English made it and shipped a lot of it to America. Also in our booth, we have china, broken pieces that are mounted in sterling silver, and we make jewelry from it. We have all types of wares in the jewelry. We have earrings, pendants, bracelets, sliders, necklaces, rings. It's an assortment of wares that we've been doing for over 30 years, and they're quite popular, and over the years we've sold numerous pieces of it.
Well, excellent information. Thank you so much for telling us about your collection. Now we're going to go and talk to some ladies about the Munising bowls, which were made up in our Upper Peninsula of Michigan. So we're here with Sue, and she's going to talk to us about these wooden bowls. So what's the name of your business, Sue?
Wild Time Antiques. I'm up in Hillman, Michigan, and my features are the Munising bowls from the Upper Peninsula, of course, Munising, Michigan, and they're when Rubbermaid and Tupperware came out, the Munising bowls went out of business.
So they were made starting in the 1920s, and then they were discontinued in the 1950s when the other companies came into vogue. Yes.
I understand that from someone in Marquette, and I've seen the bowls and little silverware with Marquette embossed on them, and they are Munising bowls, and they were the prisoners at the prison in Marquette were allowed to make some money to, buy gifts or cigarettes or whatever by doing some of these crafts, and that was one of them. And it's very strange to see those bowls, and I understand that there is someone in Marquette that told my niece about that, and then by seeing those bowls I knew that. So, and that shop is there yet. I don't know what street it's on, but they had like a thing over by the prison. It's kind of a low building. I'm not sure it was rock or what, but it is there yet. You might want to talk to a historian from that area.
Okay, well, thank you very much, and thanks so much for the information. Okay. So beautiful jewelry here, and I spotted some Disney collectibles across the building here, so we're going to go over there and check that out. These two items here, of course, everybody knows that I have a Disney crazy daughter. She would go crazy over these, and they are Disney collectibles from 1992, and they list normally over $500, and they're only $200 here. That's a really good buy. So very cool to see. So come to the main building. So here's some beautiful cups and saucers, a huge variety of them, if you like to collect cups and saucers. And some glassware, some depression glass. And these are Royal Dalton girls. And I actually just had somebody ask me at the antique mall the other day if I had any Royal Dalton. And boy, they should have came to this show. They just saw a lot of them. And that's a piece of Manhattan by the Anchor Hocking Glass Company. And some other clear glassware. And look at all these toys. Wow. Lots of collectible toys here. In any category you would ever want to look in. So if you need that one piece for your collection, definitely come to this show, because they're probably going to have it here for you. So let's go see another vendor. So we're here talking to David, and we're going to look at some of this Native American jewelry. And can you tell us a little bit about this, David?
Sure. There's a variety of things in here. What we're looking at is this is just sterling silver here, plain old sterling silver. And then in through here, I've got various pieces that are all sterling. Some are American Indian made. This is turquoise. Everything else here is turquoise except for those two. These two are not. The rest are. This is buffalo turquoise. Usually buffalo turquoise has large black spots in it. In this particular case, I chose a stone that has very little. There's just a little black right there, and it usually looks like an ink spot. And that one is Navajo made. And I've also got in through here, these are 70s watches. And then I've also got a lot of it's Royston turquoise that I have in here. This piece over here is a hand-made beaded piece. It comes with the earrings, so they're leather, handmade, and then also the sachet, which is handmade as well. These are all various toys here. The Dukes of Hazzard Barn Busters has not been used or set up. It still has the original pieces on there to affix to the barn. And I've got a 70s and 80s skateboards, Wizard of Oz. I usually go for a lot of different things.
Sounds great. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
So we really learned a lot from a lot of the vendors in that main building. So that was like an educational experience. It was great. So right now we're looking at some jewelry. And of course I had to pick up a few rings. They were very reasonably priced and I knew I could make a profit on it. So even though it's an antique show, there was quite a lot of reasonable prices here that I could actually make a profit on for my booths. And of course stuff for myself. I had to pick up a few things too. So I picked up all these rings here. And I also had picked up a bag lot of jewelry from her earlier in the day that was turned out to be a really good bag lot. So we're kind of fishing through them all. And of course I'm looking at the shanks, but many of these were newer, so I didn't have to really worry about the shanks. And even though they're newer pieces, costume jewelry always sells really good, rings especially. So if I see rings priced reasonably, I am always picking them up. That's probably my best seller in my booths. So, ooh, look at that one. That's a flashy one. And a lot of times the ones that have adjustable bottoms for the sizing, they don't sell as well as the ones that are fixed in a certain spot to be that size. So I typically look for those types rather than the adjustable ones. They seem a little more flimsy on the bottom, and I think people don't like them as well. Check out this thing. Howdy doody. And look at all the radios. They got some really nice old pieces in this booth. And lamps and teapots. And we're still in the main building. And look at that beautiful set. And some wood items. And this tray here, I should have bought this tray. It was really beautiful and the price was right. I don't know what I was thinking, but I should have picked that one up. Definitely a good buy. So, but I have regrets about it later, but I will keep a looking. So we're now at the glass dealer, and all of this glass right here is all Tiffin glass, and it's going to be featured at the Tiffin show that's coming during the summer. So she had some beautiful pieces, and we got to talk to them in Davisburg also. This is Duncan Miller.
And it's a rocket. This is a rocket face by Duncan and Miller. This has the gold trim on it. And the West Virginia one has the one that the legs flare out. And West Virginia did it. New Martinsville did this vase, and they did it in commemoration to the rockets.
Yes.
Because they were in the, so that's a rocket face.
So we're going to head on outside and start looking at some of the dealers outside. And there was gotta be over 700-800 dealers at this show, because it literally took us 2 days to go through everything. Of course, we were doing filming too, but we really looked at everything that they had to offer. Here's a nice little child's Tupperware set. And all kinds of outdoor decor and some Coke bottles and beer signs and lots of old bottles. And these things here are all apple peelers. I have never seen the variety that they had. And this is used to cut pie crust. And the little star thing that was in the center, that's where you push into the dough to make your like air vents in your pie, if you've ever made pies. And here's a ton of jewelry for $1 each. Right up my alley. Hello. So I'm going to look into that. And oh, and these were only $10 each, or 3 for 20. So here's some more jewelry here. $10 each or 3 for $20. Lots of rings. Now for me to resell, that's about what I charge. So, but for myself, that would have been a good buy. Here's a nice overall shot of the outside dealers. And this one had more jewelry, of course. There was so much jewelry there and so much vintage clothes. It was a lot of fun. And so we got some old books. And lots of small items. And advertising items. And pretty much any kind of thing you're looking for. And here's some more rings here. And those were only $3 each. That was a good buy. And some ceramics. And holiday decor. And they had holiday decor for all seasons. So if you found something neat, you could buy it and hang on to it until that season. This dealer was really neat because she had all linens. And she actually took some of the linens and made them into shower curtains right here. Those were really pretty. She was a good seamstress. They looked very nice. And you could have that old look or that vintage look in your bathroom if you wanted to with a shower curtain. Very cool idea. And not easy to do. Let me tell you, buttonholes are not easy to do for shower curtains because I've tried it. So here's her Etsy shop if you're interested in any of her linens. She had lots of beautiful things. And here's some more linens on the rack. She had lots of draperies too. And here's a nice overall shot. And this was very early in the morning, so it wasn't that busy yet. And here was a booth that had lots of wood crates. And that there, I believe, is a toaster. It looks like the kind that sits right on top of your stove. So correct me if I'm wrong on that. But anytime you see something that seems wrong to you, please always correct me because I want to give the correct information to everybody. So please always let us know if we've mentioned something that was incorrect. Here's lots more crates and a nice cocktail set. This is a chopper here. It was an interesting looking one. And a lot of these items are going to be featured on our upcoming kitchen utensil show that we were planning to do. And here's another pie cutter, pie dough cutter. I never knew there were so many different tools for cutting pie dough till I started looking at them all, so I am learning too. And we have some hand tools in there mixed in with our kitchen tools. There's a can opener. That doesn't look real effective, but it probably was back in the day. I don't know if it worked too great now. And there's that nice cocktail set that they had. This was cute. This looks like it's for lipstick. Yes, it's a lipstick holder because it had the 3 holes in the top. I collect those too, amongst many other things. But often people don't know what they are because of the holes in the top. But those are for holding your lipsticks. And lots of cups and some toys. Big variety of toys here. And here we have a piece of royal ruby by the Anchor Hocking Glass Company from 1938 to 1940. And that vase there you see quite a lot, and people don't realize how old that vase is. I see those at garage sales all the time, so keep a lookout for those vases. And this is Fire King Peach Luster Pineapple. And here's some more glassware down here. This dealer had lots of good glassware. This is another piece of Fire King. And here's a green version, similar to that vase I just held up with the forest green. And here's the other one that's exactly like the one I just held up in the ruby red. And those two vases, each in each color, I see quite frequently. So keep your eyes out for that. This is Sharon, or Cabbage Rose, by the Federal Glass Company. And here's a piece of oyster and pearl by Anchor Hocking Glass Company. And some bubble, also by the Anchor Hocking Glass Company. And this is called Buttons and Bows by the Jeanette Glass Company. And this is called Iris, also by the Jeanette Glass Company. There's a nice little Pyrex bowl. And here's another one in yellow. And we're going to watch for our upcoming Pyrex show too. We're going to do a show on Pyrex patterns. And here's Pyrex in the Autumn Harvest collection. And this is Pyrex Daisy. What a nice old picture. I couldn't identify this, but I thought the colors of it were so cool. And there's some more forest green with decals on it. So here we go. We got a nice big box of jewelry, and buddy, I dug through that. Now these folks are the same folks that were at Davisburg, but they seem like they brought lots more for this show, so I had a lot of digging to do. And this here, I kind of thought might have been amber, but the reason I knew it wasn't is there were seams on the beads. If you can see seams on the beads and it's plastic, because amber and plastic are really hard to tell the difference. They're both very light, and really the only way you can tell is if you put it under a black light or if you see the seams. So if you don't have a black light with you, which most of us don't carry lights like that around, look for the seams, and then that would be plastic for sure. So they had a big variety of pins and necklaces and bracelets, all kind of mixed in all these big boxes. And here's some more rings that they had there. Got to always check out those rings because those are my best sellers. And some pins. And here's some necklaces. They were very easy to see in these cases. And the prices were very visible. And here's some Christmas pins. And I always watch for Christmas pins because any kind of holiday jewelry always sells for me. Even if it's a little bit newer, they seem to like it. Of course, you have to put it out right before the season, and we're back in the boxes on the other side of the table. Can't quite get away from those boxes yet. Ooh, I like that. It's a little pill box. It's got embroidery on the top for $3. Ooh, I think that's $10 all day. I had to go fish around over here for us to think about it. I shouldn't have let it sit there. But I will be going back to that, don't you worry, because that was a good deal. And I also see some beads in here that look like they were glass, and that was a nice piece too. It's like a turquoise looking stone. Yeah, those red beads, I should have opened that bag up. Those could have been glass. But yes, I'm back to that box, and that is mine for sure. That was beautiful. And here's another little pin that was really nice. Almost looked like it was hand painted for $3. That was a really good buy too. They had a lot of good stuff in these boxes. I probably could have spent all day there. So here's a gentleman that makes all these little garden decor items. And of course I had to buy. I wanted to take something home. So back in that corner, you can see it from here. There's a big goofy wooden painted garden item. And that, buddy, was going home with me. My husband likes Goofy, and that's going in the studio. We put a little camera in his hand, too. It was perfect because the hand looked like it was cradling something. So we decoupaged a camera on there. It looks really cute. So here's a gentleman that has all kinds of wire art and garden items. And all kinds of things you can put around your house. And there's some wind things there. And I wish I would have looked at this stuff a little bit better. I seem to have a bird problem around my house lately. It's like living in an episode of The Birds lately. they're really all over the place, and which is fine, but they're getting kind of crazy. There's Schmitz's maple syrup. And you had all kinds of syrup. And here's a piece of Pyrex in the pink daisy pattern. And here's some more Pyrex from the Vintage Sisters. This is Pyrex Golden Grapes, 1960 to 1961. And a lot of the dealers had names of their business, but some of them didn't have names, so they just do a couple shows a year. So here's some more Pyrex. And these are for tea. They're called tea balls. You put your tea inside of there. And here's some more kitchen tools. Boy, they had a lot of different strainers. Different sizes and shapes. There were some spatulas in there. And all kinds of cool kitchen tools. And this here was to get the kernels off of corn. And we had to look that up on the internet, but that is pretty cool and it works pretty good. I wish I'd have bought that because I would have liked to try that for my kitchen tool episode. But it seems to be pretty effective. I thought it was a part of a machine, but it actually is its own thing. And here's Black Wheat by the Anchor Hocking Company. And here's Patricia, or Spoke, by the Federal Glass Company, 1933 to 37. And this dealer is Old Finds. And they had a huge variety of items. Lots of wooden kitchen tools. And some nice old wooden boxes with advertising on them. And here's some nice old cars and tractors. And trucks and construction vehicles. And an old Coke machine. I haven't seen one of them in a long time. I think they used to have those in the Kresge stores back in the day when I was a kid. And here's some cast iron. And this purse was really cute. It was a little bit out of my price range for making a profit, but I really liked that purse. I almost looked like it was homemade, like they decoupaged the flour on there. But I think it was done way long ago. And this dealer had lots of different tools and hardware. And bells. And lots of shutters for any of your craft projects or anything you want to do around your house. Well, here's some nice old pictures. And a variety of small items. And this is the Glassy Knoll. And they had a really nice glassware. Here's a whole bunch of really nice Fenton. And those dot Fenton pieces, you just don't see those very often. Those are really beautiful. And here's some nice Carnival. And some more Fenton. And the satin blue. And the milk glass. There's some silver crust there. And this is Sunflower by the Jeanette Glass Company from the 1930s. And lots of other really nice pieces. These little toothpicks were very reasonably priced. They were pretty nice. I debated on the one. I'm not sure why the one was only $4 and the other one was $10. It must be more popular in different colors. And this is Jay-Z's Vintage Bicycle and Recycling. He'd had a lot of old bikes. I remember those as a kid with those banana seats. And he had lots of different parts and tools and hardware, not just for bikes, but for all kinds of things. And he had big crates just full of goodies to dig through if you needed those types of items. They even got faucets, turn valves. And here's a nice overall shot. We're still outside because there's so many vendors. We had to divide this into 6 parts because literally we had so much footage that we had to make 6 videos out of it. So make sure that you watch all 6 because there's different dealers doing all kinds of different interviews in each of the episodes, and we don't want you to miss anything because this show was huge and we wanted to give you a really good idea of what you were going to see when you came to this show. So stay tuned for all of that. And this dealer had lots of natural gems. And beautiful necklaces with natural gems. I always look for those in my booth. Those are really good sellers. And she even had some rings that were made from natural gems. And here's some rose quartz. And this booth was really pretty with all the jadeite. And some of it was old and some of it I believe was reproductions. But it was still really nicely put together. She had the green and then she had all the white pieces and then she went into the cobalt blue pieces, which were super nice. And this dealer has a wide variety of objects for sale, from garden tools to mugs. This little elephant kind of looked like it could have been jade. I wasn't sure on this. It was some sort of composite material or it actually was jade. Now I know there's a way to tell, but I don't really know how to do that, so I'm going to have to look that up. So we're going to meet at the middle of the fairgrounds, which is in the gazebo, and see one of our singers and guitar players. Here was the elephant trailer. I had been looking for it all day, and I wanted to show you folks. There was some comments the last time we put this out about what an elephant ear is. Some of you folks in the West Coast don't know, but there they are, and they're really good. They had lots of different food here. And just to recap, there's lots more outside vendors, and there's lots more buildings we haven't even started to go in, and there's also a car show. So make sure you stay tuned for all that stuff. And this is Lou from Lou's Antiques saying goodbye, and we'll see you again. And we're going to go see the man with the blue eyes and see what he has to say.
Thanks for coming to the Michigan Antique Festival.